Hello, everyone, and welcome to this teaching release broadcast. My name is Mark Mishan, and I am from Israel. Today, we will listen to a teaching that is being released for the first time. It is titled Prayer and Power in the Mental Environment. This is a teaching received by Marshall Vian Summers on January 6, 2013 in Boulder, Colorado. This teaching was given by an angelic presence who has been in relationship with Marshall for over 40 years, and through this relationship has helped Marshall receive a body of work over 9,000 pages long and encompassing a vast array of teachings like this one. This teaching is part of a forthcoming book called Deepening Your Spiritual Practice and is available together with other teachings on the New Message website, which is online and free. These teachings were received in a mysterious process where the angelic presence speaks through Marshall, and so the recording we're about to hear is the voice that is speaking through him. Practicing my faith tradition, prayer has always been part of my spiritual life. I grew up in a tradition of prayer with liturgy, fixed words, ancient blessings, and the rhythm of speaking to God through the language of generations. But this teaching says that prayer is not mainly about asking God for favors. It should not be about looking for dispensations, but rather a connection. If at all, it should be about giving and receiving strength, to strengthen the spirit, the commitment, and what this teaching calls knowledge. This teaching says prayer is not just a private feeling. It has power in the mental environment that we don't yet understand. So in slide 1, it is a power that can be used to far greater effect if it is understood and if it is practiced ethically and appropriately. That means prayer must not be used to control, manipulate, or force outcomes. As you can see in slide 2, this then is giving without manipulation. This then is giving in a way that truly reaches another. Even if you use the liturgy or another form of prayer, ask for strength, commitment, courage, and clarity, inner qualities that will contribute to knowledge within everyone. The teaching warns in slide 3, but be very careful praying for outcomes, for you do not know what will enlighten the person. Instead, pray for attributes, for courage, for determination, for compassion, for self-acceptance. Pray to strengthen knowledge in yourself and others. The teaching says there is a deeper intelligence within us, knowledge, that cannot be corrupted by fear, pressure, or manipulation. So as you see in slide 4, knowledge is the only part of you that cannot be influenced, persuaded, induced, or seduced, for it only responds to God. And knowledge within you cannot be seduced by any other worldly power or any power in the universe. This gives prayer a new meaning. Prayer is not only asking God to change the world outside me, it is asking to become strong enough, clear enough, and faithful enough to respond rightly from within. The newest and most powerful idea in this teaching is that prayer is action in the mental environment. That means that I pray. I am not only thinking private thoughts, I may actually be sending strength, clarity, and blessings into a real field of influence. This helps me understand prayer better, not as asking for favors, but as participating with God, strengthening knowledge in myself and in others. We will now listen to the teaching. At the end of the teaching, you will be able to participate in discussions that will take place on Discord, a platform that is being used for this purpose. The link is in the description below. Thank you for being with us.
Certainly prayer is not new to the world. It is practiced in many traditions. and in some cases with great effectiveness. But few people understand how prayer really works and how it influences minds even far away. There is a mechanism for this. It is not simply magic or a mystery. And it demonstrates, in many cases, the positive use of power, utilizing the mind to bless, to encourage, to strengthen other minds, even the minds of people far away, and in some cases people you do not even know, living in other lands. It is a power that is not understood in this world. It is a power that can be used to far greater effect if it is understood and if it is practiced ethically and appropriately. While you appear to live in separation, sealed within your physical vehicle, following your social mind, your surface mind, in reality you are still connected to creation. And your minds are still connected to creation. Here you can have power and ability, not just in the physical world, but in the mental environment, which is the environment of thought and influence that has, in many cases, a more profound effect upon people's thoughts and behavior than you would think at first. In some cases even greater than physical impacts and physical forces. This becomes even stronger when you have a group mind or a consensus and people all thinking along the same lines, which creates a powerful force of persuasion, whether it be used for good or for ill. It is no accident that this is not fully understood within the world. For while the more concentrated and focused person will have a greater influence on those who are less focused and concentrated, the variance in skill and power within the human family has limits. But when you branch out into a greater community of life, with nations that have developed not only technologically, but in terms of their mental skills and communication abilities, then you have a much greater variance of power, skill, and demonstration within this mental environment. Humanity, of course, is unprepared for this. And that is why those forces who are in the world today seeking to influence certain individuals, certain people in positions of power and leadership, as well as certain individuals in the general population, can do so effectively. Often they can do this without the individual, the recipient, even knowing what is occurring or why they are feeling the way they are feeling. This represents a greater use of skill and power in the mental environment, and this greater skill and power within the universe at large, where in highly populated areas war is suppressed and other means are used to gain influence, insight, and information. Skills that are used not only in invasive ways, but also to protect nations from inquiry and so forth. For the first time, God's new revelation is revealing what this means in its teaching about life and spirituality in the universe. This is very important for humanity to know, for it is too easily influenced by powers who are in the world today, who will seek to gain influence and even dominion here without the use of force. For these powers do not want to destroy what humanity has created. It does not want to alienate the human population. It seeks to gain influence, whether people are aware of it or not. This is part of the hazard of entering this larger arena of intelligent life. if you are unprepared. If you only believe and think according to your race, your tribe, or your group, you will not see how others can use this against you and against your best interest, to reorder human priorities and to break down human authority and sovereignty within this world. This then gives you an understanding, a greater understanding of the importance of knowledge, the deeper intelligence that God has bestowed upon all sentient life in the universe, but which remains unrecognized not only in your world, but in most other worlds as well. In many places it is suppressed and unknown. For there are very few free societies in the universe where individual freedom is honored and utilized appropriately. If you can face such greater things and overcome your fear or denial of these things, then you can begin to understand the greater vulnerabilities that humanity has, standing at the threshold of space, at the threshold of a universe filled with intelligent life, a non-human universe where freedom is rare, a universe where human ethics and priorities and beliefs will not be valued or even recognized. For many this will be overwhelming, and they will run away and seek to hide, re-involve themselves in their obsessive behavior, in their dramas and tragedies and pursuits of power, wealth, and beauty. But humanity stands at the threshold of a much more sophisticated universe, where the power in the mental environment has been developed to far greater degrees, between nations that have to compete with each other, that have to communicate with each other and understand each other's intentions and activities. You are like the little tribe in the jungle that is being discovered by the outside world, and you know nothing about this. You think your tribe and your jungle is everything, and you build your theology and your philosophy and your sociology around this limited environment and understanding. But the world is a prize, and humanity are its stewards, very poor stewards, who are destroying its value, its wealth, and its ability to sustain advanced life here on earth. This in part has caused the intervention that is occurring in the world today. But what is important to understand here is the meaning of knowledge and why it is so important, not only in navigating a changing world, in the complexities and difficulties of human interaction, but also engaging with life from beyond the world, who thinks differently and who utilizes skills that humanity has not yet cultivated sufficiently. Knowledge is the only part of you that cannot be influenced, persuaded, induced, or seduced, for it only responds to God, for it represents a part of you that has never left God, that is still connected to God. God redeems the separated through knowledge. The redemption occurs because your worldly or thinking mind begins to reunite with the deeper mind of knowledge within you. Here, that which is strong can guide that which is weak within you. That which is wise can guide that which is foolish and prone to constant errors and mistakes. The value of this within your human world and human interactions is beyond comparison. To see clearly, to understand who and what you are dealing with, to respond compassionately but wisely to the world, being able to restrain your anger, your grievances, your passions, and those things that can seduce you in the outer environment, It gives you strength, power, clarity, and wisdom that few people in the world possess or have cultivated to any degree. Now this strength and power has other importance, to protect you, to guide you, as you stand at the threshold of a greater community, where the powers of inducement and persuasion and seduction are far greater, and are so often used for destructive or manipulative purposes. How is this connected to your relationship with God? It is connected because this is how God guides you and protects you. For knowledge within you cannot be seduced by any worldly power or any power in the universe, no matter what's their technology or skill. Your brain can be influenced. Your thoughts can be silenced or redirected. Undue influence can be placed upon you, but deeper within you, you are immune from these things. Even if the greater community were not at the doorstep of humanity, even if this was not an issue or a concern at all, knowledge still represents your salvation and redemption. This is how God will redeem people from all faiths and people who have no faith tradition. This is how God will redeem the entire universe, where there are billions of races and billions of religions. Your connection is deep. You cannot sever it. You can never lose knowledge, and that is why it will redeem you eventually. However long it might take for you to finally turn to it for guidance, for strength, for comfort, and for reassurance. In a world of growing turbulence and upheaval, certainly knowledge represents your compass and your guide. But within a greater community of life, it represents your protection, your insulation, which you most definitely need. This is the great threshold that humanity stands upon. It knows nothing of this. It thinks it's looking at an empty universe, or a universe perhaps filled with enlightened human beings. It is entirely anthropocentric in its view, which is understandable given its long isolation. Here the power of prayer becomes so very important, because you want to bless the world, and you want to strengthen not only the people you care about and whom you know individually, but people at large, particularly people facing great environmental or political, economic conflict or stress. You want to add strength to the human family and not to reduce it to anger and condemnation. This is an appropriate use of your mind. But there are certain things you must understand. You cannot know what is the best thing for most people in many situations. You may pray for people to be safe, to have enough food, water, and security, and that is perfectly appropriate and necessary. You may pray for people to escape terminal illness through the power of their own will and concentration and the change they must bring to their afterlife. And in most cases this is appropriate, unless the person is going to die and there is nothing you can do to change it. But be very careful praying for outcomes, for you do not know what will enlighten a person. You do not know what will bring a person to their senses, or to give them a greater strength, or to finally bring them to the power and the presence of knowledge within themselves. Here adversity, failure, and even tragedy can sometimes be the very thing that will enable a person to turn a corner, and to move away from their troubled and difficult path. Trying to rescue people from all manner of difficulties will not help them. Trying to reassure everyone constantly in the face of great change will not help them face the situation honestly and objectively. When you pray for people, pray for the strength of knowledge within them. Pray for attributes, for courage, for determination, for compassion, for self-acceptance. Pray that they may find assistance in meaningful relationships with others. Pray that they may see and follow that which guides them. If you can do this, you will give them a gift that can last them a lifetime. This is appropriate in all cases, to strengthen knowledge, courage, determination, compassion, self-acceptance, and other natural attributes which every person needs in all circumstances, whether they be favorable or not. Pray for that which can redeem the individual, which is not a belief, which is not a religious ideology. You are not asked to convert people to your religion or to your belief system, or to come under the focus of your spiritual religious hero. It is to strengthen attributes. This then is giving without manipulation. This then is giving in a way that truly reaches another. For everyone needs greater self-confidence. Everyone needs the power and presence of knowledge, for this is what God has given them to guide them in a turbulent and uncertain world. And now, as humanity stands at the threshold of the greater community, the power of this gift is amplified tenfold. And that is why God is teaching the way of knowledge, and teaching you about the mental environment, and teaching you about life and spirituality within the greater community itself. Never before has such teachings been given to humanity, but they are needed now, greatly needed. Not only by educated people in wealthy nations, but by people in all nations who can look beyond their own circumstances out onto the horizon of life to see what is coming and to see what they must do to prepare themselves and those who are in their care. Pray that they may have the strength, courage, determination, and self-confidence to do this. You can give this prayer anywhere. You may begin with your children, your family, certainly. You may begin with anyone in your life who is struggling or facing adversity. For here you are giving power without trying to control the outcome, without trying to direct a person's life, without trying to induce them into your way of thinking or believing. This is real giving, you see. Certain people need food at this moment. Certain people need shelter at this moment. Certain people need comfort and consolation at this moment. Certain people need reassurance and self-confidence at this moment. Certain people must find the power of knowledge so they can make wise decisions and not give their life away to people, places, and things without promise or purpose for thee. Give the power of the attributes and the power of knowledge through your prayer, and you will add to the strength of knowledge in the world. As you become more adept at this, you can actually give strength to groups and families and even nations. And as you give this power, it becomes stronger within you. For the giver is made stronger through the gift, if the gift is true. There is no loss of vitality here. There is no loss of energy and clarity here. For you find by giving this power that you have this power. And the more you give it, the more you find you have it. For God will feed those who feed others. God will shine the light upon those who support God's revelation and who give earnestly and honestly to others. This is the power of the gift and the giving. But it must be done without trying to create an outcome. Only in dire situations where people have overwhelming needs can you pray for the outcome. And that is necessary and appropriate. But beyond this, do not try to manipulate people. Amplify the power of knowledge within you. And you will give them greater strength, greater courage, greater self-confidence. And you will find that you have these within yourself. Not only for yourself, but enough to give to others. This represents a power in the mental environment, a constructive power. In the universe around you, this power has been used beneficially to keep invasive forces out of one's world and to insulate the minds of those who would be receptive or easily manipulated as a result. For in the mental environment, thoughts are like things. You project them through space, though in this case it is a different kind of space. They can impact others. Others can resist this through the mental environment. They can send messages to you, or they can try to influence you. This is the frontier of awareness about which humanity knows very, very little. Only the very wise and the adept understands the powers in the mental environment. For the average citizen, it is unknown, and they cannot account for it. But you go into any house along the street and you will experience the mental environment of that place. And how unique the mental environment is in each place, dependent upon the attitudes, emotions, the quality of relationship of the people who dwell there. Go into any place of business, any place where people are congregated, and they will create a mental environment there. You are always participating in the mental environment. Whether you are doing this responsibly and whether you have your own source of power to guide you is the question. You may begin to pray then for yourself. Pray that the power of knowledge will emerge within you. Pray that it will show you what you need to see, learn, and do. Pray that it will reveal to you through your own experience what you must change, alter, or redirect in your own life. Pray for strength and courage, self-confidence, and determination, and compassion. Pray that you may break the habit of constant complaining, frustration, and condemnation, which only weakens you and weakens everyone around you. Pray that you can take the steps to knowledge that God has provided, and that you will continue and you will not falter and fall away. Pray during those moments of weakness, confusion, or self-doubt. And in those moments of strength and courage, pray for others, that they may not fall prey to these things that would weaken them and prevent them from gaining the real power and direction of their lives. God is not going to save the world. God has sent you and everyone else here to save the world. What that means is to keep knowledge alive in the world and to continually add to the strength, the courage, and the greater qualities of people everywhere. This is to give humanity a greater chance, a greater future, and to protect it from the adversities that it is aware of, and from those adversities that it is not aware of. In facing the great waves of change, humanity will have to become stronger, more united, more forgiving, more compassionate. Not because it is a religious principle or a high ethic, but because it is essential for the survival of human civilization. Here the power of knowledge is not simply for your edification or for your personal enlightenment, or to help you give you what you want out of life. It is here to serve the world in need, who is facing the great waves of change now, the greatest planetary change that has occurred during the era of human civilization, and facing the challenge of the greater community, which is the greatest challenge the human family has ever faced and will ever face. Facing these things will make humanity strong and will finally bring an end to human conflict. For nothing can be wasted now. Talents of people cannot be wasted. What people have created in the world cannot be wasted. Everything has to be used as a vital resource to prepare humanity for the great change that is coming to the world. Pray for this, for there is an outcome that is obviously necessary for everyone. How this will occur is beyond your awareness. But the power that can induce people to do what is correct and what is beneficial lives within each person. And this is what you want to amplify. Then you become like the unseen ones, the angelic assembly, giving, supporting, nourishing, beyond the visual range of people, adding strength, adding courage, adding restraint where it is necessary. You, in a far lesser degree, are doing this now, practicing prayer in the mental environment. This is part of your spiritual practice, you see. It is how you become oriented to serving and giving to a world in ways that are entirely appropriate and ethical. This is the way that you strengthen yourself, by being a vehicle of grace and power, which God is giving to the world through people everywhere from the inside out. Face these greater panoramas of life. Pass through your initial response of fear or rejection. Have the courage to stand firm in the face of whatever life is bringing you. And knowledge will begin to guide you, and you will feel it, and you will hear it when necessary. It will not give you all the things you want. It will not take away all of life's difficulties so you can live pampered in a state of constant pleasure and security. It will bring you out into the world where you must be to fulfill your mission here. It will bring you out of the shadows. For God is calling you not to God, but to the world. And God is calling you to receive the gift of knowledge, for it is the greatest power in the universe. And it has not died or vanished in the world, as it has in so many other worlds. The forces of heaven will serve you if you can serve in this way. The forces of heaven must make you strong. You must outgrow your weakness and your pathetic tendencies. You must have a new life and not merely be living under the shadow and darkness of the past. Your heart must be open and your mind must be strong. And you must practice restraint in so many situations regarding so many of your feelings and reactions to the world. This is a great preparation But this is what you came for, and this is what God is giving you at humanity's greatest and most urgent hour. The Lord of the universe knows what humanity is facing. He's giving now humanity only what it needs to know, to see and to do, to prepare accordingly and appropriately. His message and gift is from God, the great love of the Creator. And you will feel this great love as you are able to receive and to follow the blessings, the power, and the purpose that God has given to you and to all others.
Thank you for listening. This teaching can be found in newmessage.org online, together with other teachings from Marshall V.N. Summers, the individual who has been receiving these teachings. We would like to mention upcoming events. There's Tuesday World Meditation, which will take place at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. There's an Emerging Worlds podcast with Marshall V.N. Summers that will take place on July 5th, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And there's a new school session coming up for July and August named Entering the Greater Community. As mentioned earlier, you can join the discussion on this teaching that will take place on the Discord server with the link provided below. See you there. Thank you for being with us for the presentation of this teaching.